Kill him. Kill him now. Do it.
You failed me. I am a Jedi. Like my father.
And what's up, everybody? It's Star Wars Talk this week. Dun, 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 dun! I'm your host, Colton, and with me, as always, the wonderful and fabulous.
Oh, me, Robert from the Remote Control.
Oh. Yes, you did indeed hear that correctly. We spent the money. We went out and did it. We bought porgs. Me, I'm really loud.
You were really loud, sir.
I'm sorry. I'm
I
like
think you're
eating.
too close to your mic.
Yeah, I'm eating the mic. I'm sorry.
There we go. That's a lot better.
Um,
Again, we're still working out the
Yeah.
sound kinks, I guess. I don't know.
But we'll start off 86 days till episode 8 as of the day of recording.
As the day of recording, 86 days. I cannot freaking wait.
I know, right?
Ugh.
Like, we're getting there. We'll find out who Rey is in 86 days.
Yeah, about 86 days. Oh, man. You know, okay, so I'm sitting here. No, I'm sitting here thinking. Like,
You look like a mess over there. You're like...
So we got 86 days, no trailer.
Yeah, right?
Look, I'm one of the ones. I'm not going to be that guy today. No, honestly,
Oh, today.
the trailer's coming, people. I know there's a lot of people out there that's worried about it. It's coming. It's coming.
It'll get here.
Okay.
I mean, I'll watch it without a trailer, so who cares?
Exactly. All of us will. That's why people need to just calm down.
Except...
We know it's coming. When we get it, we get it. But, okay, go ahead.
No, that's it. Bob's mini rant of the week. So we'll just hop right into it. The first topic, Forces of Destiny, has been renewed for another 8 episodes in 2018. They're going to add I know your sigh. I know your sigh. They're going to add a couple more characters. They have 8 more coming in October. But anyway, the 8 episodes in 2018, Finn and Han Solo will start to appear in Rey-centric episodes. Kylo will also make an appearance, which could mean we'll get a Phasma-centric episode or 2. And then Hera Syndulla. Mm-hmm. Is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah,
Syndulla.
Syndulla.
Well, we'll make her debut in the series in 2018.
Look, again, I'm all for Star Wars coming out and just being out there for everybody to see, whether it's little girls, little boys, older boys, whatever,
Or
what have you.
Porgs.
Or porgs. But honestly, I don't think these shows are good. Like, I get what they're doing. They want to get out there and get young kids into it. It's very similar. We talked about this before. It's very similar to that Mickey Mouse reboot that they did not too long ago, where it's a bunch of Mickey Mouse shorts, where it's the old style Mickey Mouse and Goofy and Donald and all them. It works for that.
Yeah.
Those shorts work for those but the reason why it works is because there's jokes in it that only adults will get.
Yeah.
Kids will think it's funny but not understand why it's funny, while adults know why it's funny.
And we're rolling in the background.
Exactly. This is so focused towards kids. And again, I know it's Disney and Lucasfilm and everything like that. And I know they're trying to just grab people at a young age and to enjoy and like Star Wars. I just don't think this is the best way to do it.
Yeah.
I just don't. I mean,
They're trying to turn them into princesses. In my opinion.
Again, I get it. And I get it. For me, I don't see the need for it. I mean, look, right now we've had 2 hugely successful Star Wars films that were very female-centric. The female protagonist. They had a protagonist that was a female. Huge.
Rey and Jyn,
Rey and Jyn or so. And we're going to have a 3rd one this December that just continues the story of Rey. And I'm not sitting here saying, oh, I'm against it. No, I love both movies. I love them both, and I love what they did with them. But I think they're going a little too drastically at trying to grab the girl and the women fan base for it with going that route. I just don't see the point for it. I think that I know plenty of women and girls, even young girls who have loved Star Wars prior to them doing that. I think it's just
And there was only 2 women in the universe at that point in time.
Put out good content.
Yeah.
Just put out good content. It doesn't need to... Like, I'd love if they did Forces of Destiny and gave us a little story on Ben Solo, or, give us a Forces of... Like, I would like that. However, I don't think the writing's great, so maybe I don't want to see it. But...
So basically your argument is you don't really you think the show's a good idea,
Show's a good idea.
but the content's just
the
not
execution
there.
isn't there.
Yeah.
You know, the execution's not there. Again, it's not focused on me though.
Yeah.
So for me, it is what it is. There's probably a reason why I don't like it, because it's not meant for
You're
me.
not like 4.
Exactly. What I should do, I might do this next time I see my daughter. I'll sit her down. She's 3 years old. Whether she enjoys it or not, maybe that's a good mark to see. I know my boys. I have a 7-year-old and a 5-year-old. Yeah, that's what they are. 6.
Oh boy.
No, 7 and 5, 8
Oh.
and 6. I don't know.
Wow.
I have 3 kids. You kind of lose track of them after a while.
Wow.
8 and 6. 8 and 6. So
I'm glad you recovered.
they're 8 and 6. So I'll sit them down, maybe see what they think. Also, again, it's not for the adults.
Yeah.
So I'm not the only person that I've heard talk like this about it. I've heard a lot of people, in the Star Wars community who just complain about this Forces of Destiny, and I personally, I think that
It's not necessary.
it's not executed properly. They could do it
I don't
better.
think it's necessary.
No.
They're not telling us anything we don't know yet. Like,
Yeah.
they're just basically retelling, oh, hey, Rey found BB-8. Was not like the first
That was
episode.
like, yeah, it was the moment from when she found BB-8 to where they were,
Going
the
to
next scene with them,
Yeah.
essentially.
But that story is not a necessary thing.
No.
But like you said, now if we take Ben Solo and tell why he turned to the dark side in 3 or 4 mini episodes, or see him start to get swayed,
I mean, I don't know.
where
if
there's
you-
an actual story.
I don't think they want to
pertaining
go that dark. See, I'm all for them focusing towards kids. I just think that, one, they need to broaden it to all kids, not just focus on little girls, because that's what this is. And 2, I think that they should just throw a little bit in there. Be a little adult with some of the jokes.
Yeah.
There are cartoons that do it well, like the Mickey Mouse cartoon. All Pixar films. You're Disney. Pixar. All of the Pixar films appeal to children, but also appeal to adults, because they are able to bring that adult humor as well.
Yeah.
So I don't see why they can't just do something like that. I know it's only a 5-minute, 6-minute short episode, but why not? Well, just do something like that. That's just my opinion. Maybe they will do something down the line. I don't know. I just think that ever since, and again, this isn't a bad thing necessarily, but ever since Lucasfilm was bought by Disney and they started putting out content, I understand the need for strong female characters in the Star Wars universe. I get it. But I think it's a little oversaturation right now.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not saying it's a bad thing to have the strong female characters. Yes, I agree. We need to have them in there. But when are we going to get, a strong? Well, why do we need to worry about what they are, women or men? Like that. And
Just focus on a
not,
character.
Yeah, it's not me that's complaining about it. It's it's literally what the case is. It's
Yeah.
that's all they've put out is strong female.
Yeah.
With the exception, I guess you can say Rebels, but
Yeah.
that's even tough because you have Sabine and Hera.
Yeah.
So again, I'm not complaining about that aspect. I know people are gonna be like, "Oh, you're complaining about female." No, I'm not. No, I'm just saying I think they need to get away from focusing on that, because you can tell there's a focus on it.
Yeah.
To me, that doesn't bode well for the company when you can solely see what they're focusing on. If they can add that stuff in there without shoving it in your face, that's what I think is better.
So what you're saying is we need a Jar Jar centric episode.
Yes.
Please. Please. So, with episode 8 being 86 days away,
Woo!
and segues are weird, Hasbro has released a couple new toys that pertain to episode 8.
You don't say.
Man, I know, crazy, right? So we get what looks like a very in-depth Vader helmet. Looks like the inside got, like the scene from episode 3 when they're putting the mask on.
Yeah.
Is kind of how the inside looks. So it looks like we're finally getting a detailed Vader mask.
Can I wear it?
If it fits, I don't care what you do. I wouldn't. If you wear it to airsoft.
All right, deal.
We see Benicio del Toro's character, kind of.
Yes, DJ.
What do you think based on that action figure's appearance? What do you think of the character?
He's nothing. He's a side character they brought in. I don't know why they got Benicio del Toro. See, here's my problem with a lot of not companies, but a lot of film studios nowadays. Side characters, like what it seems like Benicio del Toro's character is going to play, used to be for the B actors, the actors who are just starting out, really trying to make a name and such. And yeah, I get that there's, every movie, every company, for as long as we can go back and talk about movies, they've had those specific roles occasionally filled by large, star actors. Even Star Wars did it with Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah.
In Episode 1, he was a side character. You could have gotten any guy to play that, but they got Samuel L. Jackson. Which I'm not
Freeman.
complaining about, but
he fit the shoes.
I mean, what I'm saying is, Benicio del Toro, when they cast him, he's such a specific type of actor, and the way he looks, you almost think immediately he's going to play a villain, just because of the way he looks.
Yeah.
Now, with that said, when more things coming out, oh, he's named DJ, and then the rumor started, oh, that stands for Dark Jedi and stuff like that.
Yeah, we all expected more.
We expected more, but then more information came out. No, he's just a slicer. He just is basically a computer hacker. That's about all he is. Yeah. He doesn't play for one team or the other. He plays for both teams.
Yeah, whoever's
paying him the most money. And that kind of disappoints me. Why would you get somebody like Benicio del Toro unless the role is huge?
And then let's rumors circle around him.
Yeah, I mean, again, unless the role is huge, maybe it's bigger than what we thought. What we're thinking, because I'm imagining it as being as large as like Maz Kanata's role in The Force Awakens. Nothing much bigger than that. And why do you need somebody as big as Benicio del Toro,
why are you paying millions?
who has the ability to really play a strong character, somebody who could be, a big character. And in a way, I think, and I'm worried, there's a couple casting choices in this film that have worried me because I might get distracted by them. Because Star Wars, I'm not used to Star Wars casting A-list actors for things. And I'm thinking, Episode 1 or Episode 7 did a good job. They stayed away from the A-list actors. There was nobody really A-list that you sat there and you saw on screen. You're like, oh crap, that's that
Han
person.
Solo.
But he like
I
that,
had to.
But that doesn't count because he's
embedded in the series.
He's embedded in Star Wars. To most people, Harrison Ford is Han Solo. Harrison Ford isn't Jack Ryan. He isn't Indiana Jones. For some people, he is simply Han Solo. So that's okay. But I take a look back at Star Wars Episode 1, for instance. When I was a kid, I had no idea who Liam Neeson was.
Yeah, I was gonna say he wasn't that big at that time.
He had some big movies prior, Schindler's List and I can't think of anything else right now. But he was in some bigger movies prior. Ewan McGregor, he was coming off of Train Spotting. He wasn't that big of an actor. Samuel Jackson was probably the biggest actor. Natalie Portman, I would say, is the biggest actor in Star Wars Episode 1. However, she was still young. She was still coming into her own.
She wasn't even really big at that time.
Exactly. But with Episode 8, we have Benicio del Toro, who has a huge library of films and excellent, films to his credit. You have Laura Dern, who's going to be in the movie, and that's another one I'm worried about because she has a presence. I mean, she's been in so many movies, and she literally, I think, if I'm not mistaken, we're going to talk about this on TRC this week, but I believe she just won an Emmy, for a TV show that she was on. So I sit there and think, like, okay, they're getting these big name actors. Is it going to be distracting? So getting back to your question, with what do I think? What do I think about Benicio del Toro's character? Does the figure give anything away? I think what it gives away is disappointment, and that he doesn't look like he's going to be more than just a side character. All the rumors building up what he could be was so exciting. Could he be Ezra Bridger? Could he be this? Could he be that?
And now we're just getting
And now with this action figure being released, I mean, you look at it, he looks like a nobody. Like, he looks like a generic action figure. And that doesn't bode well for his character, in my opinion, for the movie. And that's my worry. We're gonna see Benicio del Toro come up, and
he's gone. No, I think we're gonna see a ring theory aspect come in. I think he's going to be the Lando Calrissian of this trilogy. He's going to be in this one. He's going to be like how Lando turned on Han and everybody.
Yeah.
he's going to be that guy that kind of like maybe turns on the First Order.
I mean, it's possible because they, a lot of rumor has it that Canto Bight is going to be kind of the which is the casino.
Yeah, it's going to be Bespin.
Is going to be like Bespin was. Yeah, so like that's going to be that scene, matched up with Bespin, and supposedly that's where they meet. DJ is at Canto Bight, or they take him to Canto Bight or something like that. So I mean, it's possible.
So I think I don't think he's going to be as disappointing as you think he's going to be.
I hope not.
I think he's going to have not a major role, but a medium role.
But again, that's my worry is you get somebody that big, and then you give them a small role. To me, that's distracting and disappointing. To me, again, I'm gonna see this movie no matter what. I'm excited about this movie.
We're gonna see it like 17 times.
Exactly, but
maybe even do a commentary.
When I really, really sit here and think about it, I mean, honestly, I don't want to see. I want to see him be something, and maybe it's because of all the rumors that went around that excited me for so long. Oh, he could be Ezra.
If you never know though. We haven't seen the movie yet.
True.
You got me all worked up. I was all worked up when we couldn't find a Porg in Walmart today, and you calmed me down. I'm gonna calm you down. I'll return the favor. But the next figure we got was a new Leia figure, and she looks very much like a politician.
Yeah, I believe this is the figure that you had to pre-order on StarWars.com about a week or two ago, and they are completely sold out, which really upset me because I didn't know about the pre-order. I would have pre-ordered this figure immediately because it's essentially the last, I won't say the last figure, but it's one of the last Leia figures we're going to get, new figures for Leia, when it comes to new movies and stuff like that. So to me, it's something that I really want to get. I guarantee you're going to find them once they're released and people start receiving them. You're going to see them on eBay for hundreds of dollars, thousands of dollars maybe. That might be one of the hottest collectible Star Wars toys ever. And it's disappointing. Like, I don't want one to sell. I want one to
for
have.
The sentimental value.
Exactly. So hopefully, because, they will release them in stores. So hopefully one day I walk through a store and I see one, grab it up and throw it in my cart.
He's just going to make the pop noise and that's it. Just walk
I'm going to go, hey!
and leave.
So, But I think that is one of the best looking figures that I've seen. Like, it really actually looks like Carrie Fisher, so.
Now, spoilers. Potential spoilers. The last figure that was in the article was an old Ben Kenobi figure. What in the hell could that mean? Other than the fact that he's going to be in the movie.
Here's my theory on that, personally. For The Force Awakens, they had figures. Now, let me finish before you start talking. They had figures.
Sorry, I was stretching my shirt out. It was under my tits.
They had figures come out that were Luke Skywalker against Darth Vader on Bespin.
Mm.
And that was under the Force Awakens toy line. Okay? They had, I want to say they had a couple Endor variants as well for the Force Awakens line. It could mean nothing. However, with saying that, if you remember, and some people may know this, some people may not know this, J.J. Abrams filmed a scene for The Force Awakens for the Forceback, the flashback that Rey has. He filmed the fight, the Luke Skywalker, Vader, Bespin scene, again, from a different angle. He actually shot that scene and he was going to have it in the movie, whether it was from the rewrites that they took it out or during the editing process they took it out, but it never actually made it into the film. So with that could be a reason why the figures were made. So if you think of that way, they made an Obi-Wan figure, maybe we're going to see Obi-Wan in the movie. I think we are. I've already said that I think we're going to see Anakin, Obi-Wan, and Yoda in this movie. I think we're going to. But I don't know if it's the figure that gives that away at all, because again, when you think back to the Force Awakens figures,
we didn't see half of
we didn't see half of some of the stuff that they put out, especially in the first release, the first wave. So
I don't know. I don't know if I want to see an old Ben. I want to see Ewan McGregor come back as Obi-Wan. Maybe, a little older, but,
I mean, they could age him. I mean, they could use special effects to age him. They can use prosthetics to make him look older. I mean, either way, it doesn't matter. They can make Ewan McGregor. I think that's what they're going to do. I think it's going to be Ewan McGregor's going to pop up, and he'll
be like, I have the high ground. And Anakin will be like, no.
they'll do something. You know, I think, it will be Ewan. They obviously they can't get, wow, I can't think of his name right now.
You say that, and I'm like Neil Patrick Harris, and I know it's not Neil Patrick
Neil
Harris.
Patrick Harris.
I don't know why that popped straight into my head.
Sir Alec Guinness.
Yes.
Jeez, there we go. Sir Alec Guinness. You know, they can't get him, obviously. So I think it would be Ewan McGregor, and I think it would be a good segue and possibility for people to start getting used to the fact of seeing an older Ewan McGregor playing Obi-Wan before the Obi-Wan film that hasn't been
rumored.
Officially announced.
It's
but,
rumored.
You know, is coming.
So with this, how would you picture all the Force Ghosts would be like pitch me the scene?
Pitch you the scene?
Yes.
See,
I know I caught you on your toes. Your toes.
You did a bit. I think a cool scene for those characters would be to simply. I don't think they're all going to show up at one time. I think there's going to be a moment where after Rey shows up with Luke, that Luke is sitting there talking to Rey, and he's like, "No, I'm not training you. I'm not training you. I'm not training you." That type of thing. And he goes and meditates, and you'll hear the voice of Yoda, and then Yoda will pop up, and he'll be like, "Train her, you must," and stuff like that. I think something like that will happen with Yoda. As for Obi-Wan, because my theory is solely stuck on she's a Kenobi aspect, which I know it's not going to be. Yes. Which I know it's not going to actually be the case, but that's what I would really like to have. I think it would be cool to have him show up during her training. Have him show up, and whether it's she's struggling to get through something, and she's starting to allow the Force allow the Force to take over her, and there's a moment where she's struggling, and she looks up, and Ben Kenobi's right there. As for Anakin, I think it's going to be another scene with either Luke and or Kylo, where they're trying to reach out, and maybe Luke is like, I need some guidance, I need some help, and he starts talking about how he's afraid that he can sense some darkness in Rey, and it's Anakin who comes to him and is like, look, blah blah blah, and he goes on and and talks about something. I could see that happening. Now that's 3 separate scenes where we would see Force Ghosts. I don't know if that's a good idea to do. Maybe they will just pop up at one time. Maybe we'll only see one. Maybe we'll see 2. Maybe we'll see all 3. I don't know. I think that would be a cool idea.
I like to picture. Now I'm kind of hinting to TRC later. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. I think when Luke utters the words "the Jedi must end" is when he's talking to Yoda in a meditation, and then Yoda's like, "Oh, trainer, you must."
Yeah.
That's the only way the Jedi are going to survive, or something along those lines. And Anakin. And then Luke's like, "No, the Jedi must end." Because, without good, evil won't exist either. In his head, maybe. And then training-wise, maybe we'll see, like, a little cave like Dagobah. And Rey will be fighting Anakin?
Maybe.
Question mark? Like, not like Anakin, not Darth Vader, but when he was still evil, like when he invaded the Jedi Temple. Maybe we'll see an Anakin there. Not necessarily a ghost, but what was it? Like image?
It was like an image.
Hallucination. We'll say that. And then, like I said, like you said, I'm a fan of the Rey being a Kenobi thing. So when she's training, maybe like Luke's watching her, and Ben just appears and is helping train her as well.
That would be cool.
So it all kind of partakes within the training of
Rey.
Oh no, that's how I'd like to picture it.
Yeah, we'll see. Movie comes out in 89 days. 86 days. 80 some days.
But within 86 days, I forget where I read this at. Episode 8, most of the twists and turns will be based off the emotion of the audience. Jeez, I can't talk today.
Okay, the emotion of the audience.
I don't understand how that'll work. Like, it's not going to focus anything on the storyline. Any twist and turn will be based on emotion.
Okay.
So we could kill Luke off just for shock and Awe factor.
I don't think. I think.
I mean, just as an example, like
Yeah.
not necessarily
No,
killing
no.
him, but-
Here's the thing. Ryan Johnson is a fantastic writer. I don't know if you've ever seen Brick or if you've seen Looper. The films are written tremendously. They're fun. They're fun. Well, they're not exactly fun, but
you got
they're
a dark sense of fun.
yeah, they're well written films, very well written. Everything is covered in his movies when he writes. I think from his standpoint, when he would say something like that or talking about the Last Jedi, when he's saying about emotion and it's going to be based off of what the audience is feeling at that time, those twists and turns. It's the story's job to get somebody to feel a certain way. So as the story goes on, obviously there could be a moment where a character could die or a reveal happens. The reveal may not be all that shocking. It may become, Luke is Rey's father.
Sadly.
But if the story is written well and it takes you on that emotional roller coaster ride, it could hit you hard, even if you expect it or figured that's the route that they were going to go. It could still give you that twist, that feeling of like, whoa, if it's done well. And I think that's kind of what they're hinting at, is that the movie's going to have twists and turns, but don't expect them to all just be like, holy crap moments. It's going to be, you know what, we led you to this point to enjoy this twist or this turn. It's not so much of unexpected, I think that's what they're talking about. That's my opinion.
I guess that makes sense. I was just expecting it like we're just gonna kill someone just for the shock value.
No, again, Ryan Johnson's such a good writer that he's not gonna do anything that does disservice to the Star Wars franchise, the script or the movie, anything like that. So I don't see him just killing Luke just because we did get a shock moment and dead. I think it's gonna be.
Someone just pops right in his ear and it explodes his brain or something.
So I think that's what we're going to see. I think it's just going to be, just good story that's going to lead us to those reveals. And again, some of the reveals may not be what we want. They may be stuff that we've expected to happen, but I think it'll be done well. And that's what I think.
I think we're going to see Leia die.
I'm pretty sure they already said that that's not going to happen. They already said that she does not die in the movie. They do not kill her off, but she does
Disappear.
Well, she doesn't disappear, but her story wraps up nicely in the movie. It's kind of, I can't remember the exact wording of it. So they say her story wraps up nicely and everything like that. That leaves it open for episode 8 for them to recast or decide to do
episode
CG or episode 9, CG, whatever it is. It leaves them open. I know that they said they're not going to CGI her. Honestly, I would not be surprised if they went back on that promise, at least for a short scene or something like that in the movie.
Something like Rogue One where they just have to do it for 5 seconds and that's it.
I think they jumped the gun a little bit whenever they're like, nope, not doing it. I think they...
Yeah, that was an emotional answer.
Yeah. I personally, and I've said this multiple times, I'd rather them recast the character and serve the character justice, make sure that the character is taken care of. I get it. Carrie Fisher, meant a lot to Star Wars, meant a lot to her friends and family and everything like that. And, her passing away was very sad. But, if anybody knew Carrie Fisher, I didn't know Carrie Fisher, but from all accounts that you hear, whether it's her friends, family, talk about her, she deeply cared for Princess Leia and General Leia and that character. She's not somebody that would sit there and say, if I die, I don't want the character to ever be used again. She would never do that.
Yeah.
She would be like, no, make sure the character is taken care of, whether it's recasting, CGIing her, something like that. That's what Carrie Fisher would want. And I think that's what they need to explore for episode 9. With JJ now directing and rewriting, which we're going to get into here shortly. Sorry.
Yeah,
Spoilers!
Spoiler. Literally jumping the gun to the next topic.
With that happening, I think it's one of those things that we could see that now. I think, it's a possibility. But, yeah, I'll leave there because I have more with the JJ topic. So.
Okay, well, now that you jumped it, we're going to have the news that broke an hour after we recorded last week?
No.
Or
it was the day. It was the next day. We recorded, and I said in the episode, this news is probably going to break before this is released. We released on Wednesday, and it was out on Tuesday.
J.J. Abrams is set to write and direct episode 9. The look I just gave you was probably amazing. Along with Abrams' writing, Lucasfilms has also brought in Chris Terrio, who has been credited with writing both Batman vs. Superman and the Justice League.
All right. Going to hold you there because I'm going to stick to the Chris Terrio thing here, okay? I want to quickly say this. I know there's a lot of negativity about Batman vs. Superman Dawn of Justice.
No, that's a fantastic movie.
It is a fantastic movie. But before I move on with that, people need to realize Chris Terrio, while he was credited for helping write Batman vs. Superman, he was solely brought in to write most of the scenes with Batman. Mm-hmm. Any scene with Bruce Wayne talking to Alfred and stuff like that, that was Chris Terrio. Why? Because Ben Affleck trusted him. Ben Affleck likes the way that he writes and how he treats Ben Affleck as an actor. Mm-hmm. That's why he asked and brought Chris Terrio into that movie. And that is what he wrote. He is not the reason for the Martha scene. Again, I'm a huge fan of this movie, Batman vs. Superman. I understand the distaste and the negative reviews that it gets for that Martha scene. I get it. I understand why people say that. But he's not the reason for that scene. So I just want to make sure that gets out there because a lot of people are like, why would they bring in somebody who did the Martha scene? He didn't do the Martha scene. All right.
Those people are currently unemployed.
Yeah, I don't know about that. But, again, Chris Terrio, excellent. I mean, Argo was a fantastic award-winning film.
Yes.
He wrote that. If you want to look at his work, look at Argo. That's what he can do. All right, Justice League, yes, he helped write part of Justice League. Now, remember Josh Whedon came in, and I can never say Whedon's name right. He came in and wrote a portion of it as well. So when you go see Justice League, you might sit there and say, oh, wow, this movie sucks. Stupid Chris Terrio, now he's going to ruin Star Wars Episode 8. Or Episode 9. That's not the case.
Yeah.
Because Josh Whedon also wrote it. You don't know which parts, who wrote what. So keep in mind, if you want to look at Chris Terrio's resume, look no further than Argo and see how good of a writer he is. For Episode 9, I think it'll be fantastic.
Yes, from a writing standpoint.
From a writing standpoint, yes. And J.J. Abrams helped write Episode 7, which I think was done very well. We'll get into this all in a bit. I don't know, is there anywhere that you want to lead with this story? I don't know. I don't want to...
I'm just going to say the official statement for it.
Okay.
J.J. Abrams, who launched a new era of Star Wars with The Force Awakens in 2015, is returning to complete the sequel trilogy as writer and director of Star Wars Episode 9. Abrams will co-write the film with Chris Terrio. Star Wars Episode 9 will be produced by Kathleen Kennedy, Michelle Rejwan, Abrams, Bad Robot, and Lucasfilms. Official statement on him writing and directing Episode 9.
Yeah. Look, before I move on to saying anything else, I want to say Colin Trevorrow, whether you like Jurassic World or not, is a good director. Writing wise, if you've seen the Book of Henry, I haven't seen it. You might be able to tell how he is writing. I think him leaving, obviously left a hole for Star Wars to fill. My pick for that was either Rian Johnson or Steven Spielberg. To me, those would have been the two best choices. It makes sense.
Yes.
That they go to J.J. Abrams for a couple reasons. Now, first off, when I did my initial reaction to this news last week on our YouTube channel, the news hadn't come out yet that they offered it to Rian Johnson first. Mm-hmm. The news then came out after that we did offer it to Rian Johnson, he turned it down or something. I don't know how that news broke. So it was offered to Rian Johnson. He turned it down. You can't blame the guy. For the last 2.5 years, he's been doing nothing but Star Wars. I'm sure he wants a break. I get that, this next Star Wars could be the greatest Star Wars ever, and everybody will be like, we want Rian Johnson back. If that's the case, look for him to come back in Episode 10. I can guarantee it. If this movie does as well as it's going to do, I know there's going to be...
We're going to get an Episode 10.
I know we're getting Episodes 10, 11, and 12. Some people think 9's going to be the final episodic film. No. We're going to get 10, 11, and 12. Why? Because these movies make money.
Exactly.
Right? They print money, essentially. And there's going to be an Episode 10. So I would look for Rian Johnson to do that. Why it's a good idea for Abrams is because it's a safe bet. It's a safe way to go. You're not going out and getting some young director who's still getting his his teeth in and getting his feet wet and stuff like that.
Not me.
You're not getting somebody who, like a Steven Spielberg who has a lot on his plate. You're bringing J.J. Abrams in, who
is basically fresh off of Force Awakens.
Again, exactly. I mean, yeah, he did he helped produce the Cloverfield spin-off or sequel or whatever it was, 10 Cloverfield Lane or whatever. What's that called? Is that what it's called?
No, it's called that. I think it's a Soul sequel. I don't know.
Okay.
That whole
but
series
he helped
is
produce
crazy.
that. Like he helped, push that to get made. That's pretty much the only real big thing that he's done since Star Wars. Yeah, I think he also did help on. Did he help on Westworld? I can't remember. But either way, he's not doing a whole bunch. He's not knee deep in anything. So you bring him in, who helped relaunch the Star Wars universe in a great way.
Job of it.
Yes, you can say what you want about The Force Awakens. Yes, it has some similarities to A New Hope. Oh no. However, the core of that story, the emotion, everything is drastically different than A New Hope. So, yes, there's some similarities. I get it. But it was the safe way to go. He had two options. He said either go the safe way and reignite everybody's love for Star Wars, or take a shot and have a chance of nobody liking Star Wars, this movie not making $1 billion or $2 billion, probably even $1 billion at the time. They were like, oh, we don't want to go that route, and fail. That's why they threw George Lucas's story treatments out, because they didn't want to take the risk. Is that a bad thing? Okay, it could be. I'd love to see what those treatments were.
Yeah.
I would love to see what Lucas had in mind. But it's not Lucas's property anymore.
Yeah, it's no longer his idea.
So, while, okay, it's unfortunate that we will never get to see those ideas probably, they went the safe way. They made $2 billion doing it, making a very good movie. Very good movie. All right? So why wouldn't you go back to the guy that did that? Not only that, you can bring him in, and now he can close off all of those ideas that he started.
Yeah.
Who's Phasma, who's Rey, who's Snoke, who's this.
Or continue to build them.
And continue to build them. Obviously, that's kind of a worry with J.J. Abrams, though. He doesn't finish very well when it comes to films. If you ever saw Super 8. Super 8 is an excellent film. I love that movie. However, the ending, the finish, the reveal, meh. It just kind of fell flat. It's a good movie. I really like the movie. To me, I think that's what started off the big 80s trend for 80s, kids and stuff like that, Stranger Things and it coming back and stuff like that. Great movie. Love it. Mission Impossible 3. Absolutely excellent movie, and that reinvigorated that franchise. Without MI3, we wouldn't have Rogue Nation and the other ones that we've had since. I can't remember all the names. Again, it was an excellent film. Again, the finish was kind of meh, good movie, just meh at the end. That's the problem. So that's a 3-part story in a movie. 3-part story in a movie.
Yeah.
Starts off great, middle's good, ending meh. We're looking at a trilogy now. First movie, excellent. Second movie could be even better.
Yeah.
We don't want to meh for episode 9. We don't want it. So that's the worry. Can J.J. Abrams do something different? And that's what I want to see. I want to see him do that. He's the kind of person that's going to sit there and take criticism. He's hearing what everybody's saying. Whether he's listening and taking it or not, he knows he can hear what everybody's saying. Will he take that and switch it? Will he then go, okay, you know what? In that case, let's write this a better way. Maybe that's why they brought Chris Terrio in. Because JJ knows, you know what, if I write this way, the way I write, I might not get what you want. Chris Terrio wrote Argo. Oh, excellent movie. From start to finish, excellent movie. Bring him in, help him close it out. So, all around, I think it's an excellent idea to bring him back. Not my first choice. Probably would have been my third or fourth choice. But safe bet. Best way to go with the options they had. Obviously Spielberg couldn't because he's got 50 things on his plate. Rian Johnson's just tired and burnt out, and they're not going to bring George Lucas back. So
now, what do you think Abrams could bring to the table that's new? What do you expect if he were to bring something new?
See, that's a tough question, because new, like, what do you want new? We have this new franchise, all right, and I don't think you can even come up with anything until we see episode 8, because episode 8 may introduce a whole plethora of new ideas
based on what we've seen, it's already introducing a whole bunch of new stuff.
Yeah, but new ideas as well, and if it introduces new ideas on top of the ideas and story arcs that JJ brought up, I don't want more in 9. I want them closed out. I want them, all wrapped up with a nice little bow. Here you go. That's what I want to see. Look at Return of the Jedi. Return of the Jedi, while it's not the best Star Wars film, I mean, it's one of my favorites, because to me, when I was a kid growing up, it had the best lightsaber battle prior to episode 1. Love that movie. The Ewoks be damned. Great movie. I love it. However, you look at it, it doesn't ask more questions. It answers the questions. At the end of Empire Strikes Back, no, there is another. You find out who the other is in Return of the Jedi. There's a lot of stuff that they answer. They answer, who is Vader? Is Vader really his father? Yes, Vader is his father. His name is Anakin Skywalker. And you go on and you find out all of this stuff. Everything is wrapped up for you, and the good wins at the end. That's what we need from episode 9. We don't need another episode 7 or another Empire where it's like, why do we have questions that won't be answered for another 5-10 years in episode 10? We need it wrapped up where we're not asking other questions, where these characters can go off and continue their story without them even wondering, what is this? What's going on?
So what you're saying is you don't want 9 to end in a cliffhanger.
No, I want it. Give me an Ewok celebration.
Please don't. Wasn't it confirmed that they're all dead?
I'm kidding about the Ewok celebration. No,
But,
I give me a Porg celebration then.
I'm fine with it.
But again, you look at episode 3, the way that finishes up. Wow, it's dark and dire and everything like that. You have that ray of hope at the very end where
I see what you did there.
Obi-Wan is passing off Luke to Aunt Beru and Uncle Owen. That moment in that movie, while everything was dark, Obi-Wan just, in his eyes at that moment, at that point in time, believed he murdered his best friend, but we see he becomes Vader, Padme dies, these twins are born. We see the ray of hope as Luke is given to Owen and Beru, and you're like, okay,
excuse me,
got some hope here. Yes, now, lead into the next movie. It ended perfectly. It took the story and, it whether you believe the prequels are great or not, or good or not, or whatever you want to say, it took the prequel trilogy and it wrapped it up. Everything was wrapped up by the end of episode 3. There was no questions left unanswered at the end of episode 3, just as there's no questions left unanswered at the end of episode 6. You can't then leave questions open. And again, like I said, that's the worry with J.J. Abrams. I don't want anything new. And not sitting here saying that I wanted to copy Return of the Jedi, because I know a lot of people were saying, I think one of the funniest memes I saw last week was they had the opening crawl for the Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, and it had all the crossed
it had crossed out and had Tatooine scratched out and replaced with Jakku, Luke, scratched out, replaced with Rey, and so on and so forth. I thought it was funny, but that's not what we need. I think we need something that is new in a sense that it's not the same of Return of the Jedi
or episode
3, but it needs to be able to wrap everything up. Don't give us something new where we have more questions. Make sense? I think it makes sense.
I want something new where it keeps questions open, because if we're gonna have 4, 5, 6 years between trilogies, hypothetically saying we get 10, 11, and 12, they're gonna have one-offs. So with the questions still open from the end of episode 9, you can do one-offs that answer questions here and there.
Yeah, I mean, you could go that way.
It's that way. By the time episode 11 or 10 would roll around, everything could be answered by then, and you could just start new.
Again, like I said, I would much prefer them wrap everything up, keep the episodic films episodic. I don't want to hear, or not, I'm not here, but I don't want to see Rey. I don't want to see Pin, Poe or Finn.
Boy, you're as bad as I am, man.
Poe or Finn in spin-off movies. I don't. That's one of the reasons why I'm against the Han Solo film. I'm going to see it. I just am not excited about it because his story is what it needs to be for the movies. Doing it in books and stuff like that, awesome. Give me the stuff in books. I'm okay with that. but I don't want them to end episode 9 with some questions, and then you have to go watch a movie over here in 2 years that explains it, and then another 2 years go watch a movie over here that explains that part, and then in episode 10 you're like, okay, it makes sense now. Whether you like it or not, there are going to be fans who only watch the episodic films, so you can't do that. I think, you have to have the films, at least the episodic films. Everything that is talked about in the movies needs to be wrapped up in those trilogies. Now, for instance, the Death Star plans. We'll take, A New Hope, for instance. They talk about, stealing the Death Star plans in the opening crawl. While it doesn't give you everything, it gave you exactly what you needed for the movie.
Yeah, it was enough to lead you into episode 4.
It left you like, wouldn't it be cool to see that? I'm okay with doing something like that in episode 9. Wouldn't it be cool to see that? But it gave you everything you needed for the movie. It doesn't leave you questioning. It just is like, that'd be cool to see that. And then boom, Rogue One came out and we saw it and it was awesome.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. I just don't want questions that are left unanswered, and we either have to wait till episode 10 or they do spin-offs that answer them, because I think that's, one, not fair to Star Wars fans, and 2, just it would be poor writing. Because you've set things up for 2 movies. You have 2 hours and 20 minutes to wrap it up. You need to wrap it up.
My thing is, Rebels is over after this season?
Yeah, last season of Rebels.
When does it end? When's it projected to end?
Well, that's one of the things I wanted to bring up today. Real quick, just jump to Rebels. Rebels released a whole bunch of episode titles, the first 6 episode titles. We also found out that they're going to be released back to back. So you're going to get 1 and 2 episodes every day, every week, which is awesome. Now, another crazy thing is they're releasing the episodes at midnight every night, which is really bizarre to me. I don't understand, but they will replay it through the day. So it's going to release at midnight, then replay it like 9 a.m., 2 p.m., and then like 6 p.m. or something like that. Something weird. So they did do that, which leads the question here, are they setting it up where Rebels actually finishes before The Last Jedi is released? Because if they do that, if they do 2 episodes a day, or 2 episodes a week, it would take them 9 weeks, I think, because I think there's 16 or 18 episodes. So 8 or 9 weeks.
So a month and a half. 2
A
months.
month and a half.
2 months.
2 months, which, if it starts the beginning of October, or sometime in October, which I believe it does, sorry if I'm wrong, that would end it before Last
almost
Jedi.
Immediately before.
Which, if you then ask me, means that there's some reveal that's going to come up in The Last Jedi that they don't want to be spoiled with, one or the other.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's just my theory.
So we're just hypothetically speaking, it's going to be before The Last Jedi.
It should. I'm thinking it's going to end before The Last Jedi.
So, and we have no news about what's coming out next as an animated series.
Not yet. No.
So what if they hold off? They stick with the Forces of Destiny. They struggle through until the end of episode 9. They have an open storyline. They turn it into a TV show.
Again, why? That's a disservice to Star Wars fans. Not all Star Wars fans watch the cartoons. I know plenty of Star Wars fans who are huge fans that don't watch Rebels, that have never watched Clone Wars. While the Clone Wars and Rebels is an excellent show, where they're both excellent shows, again, it doesn't. You don't have to watch it to enjoy the movies, and that's the thing. You don't want to. You don't want to. It's the word I'm looking for. You don't want to screw over your audience. Like, there's no reason why they should say, you need to watch this so you understand this. You need to watch this so you understand that. That's what Star Wars has done so well for the last 40 years, is while there's been, expanded universes, video games, comic books, TV shows, everything like that, you've not had to read or watch or play any of that to understand what's going on in the movies. Everything in the movies makes complete sense. Yeah, there's things in them that you're like, man, when Boba Fett takes, Han Solo, I wonder where he went. Did he go straight to Jabba's palace? Well, if you play Shadows of the Empire, you would have known, no, he doesn't go straight to Jabba's palace. There's a great action scene between Dash Rendar and Boba Fett. That's cool to find out, but you don't need that information going forward through the movies. You see what I mean? Like, you can't... I know what you're saying. I'm all for connecting everything more. I'm all for it. But the way I think they need to connect it is connected in a way that, like, we bring Ezra Bridger into a movie. We bring character, they did it with Saul Guerrero. You know, Saw was a character in the Clone Wars cartoon. Saw Gerrera.
Was he really?
Yes, he was a character in the Clone Wars cartoon. He's now a character in Rebels, and guess what? He was in He was in Rogue One. You know, that's the way they need to do it. So like, he was used excellent in Rogue One. You know, and you're like, who is this character? You know what? I've heard that he was in a cartoon. You know what? I want to check out that cartoon because I like this character. That's the way it needs to work. It needs to work that way. Get the people through the movies to watch this stuff. Don't say you have to watch it. Say, you know what? This is cool. I'll watch it now because this person is there. This is there. Don't say you have to. That's what I'm saying. That was a long time.
Yeah, no, you legitimately answered 2 of the 3 main questions I was going to ask you at the end of this. But along with Abrams being announced for episode 9, back on track.
Back on track.
Yeah, we went off on a really long discussion there. With Abrams being announced as director for episode 9, they also pushed back the date for episode 9. It is now December 20th, 2019.
Woo! Okay. Okay.
It is what it is.
I was excited. I was excited that we, you know, I'm not all for the Han Solo film, but I'm for a Star Wars film. So I'm excited that we get episode 8, and then 6 months later we get Han Solo. I'm excited because we're just getting Star Wars like that. I was then hoping, okay, a year after we get episode 9 back in the summer months, which I think I much prefer because I don't like driving in cold weather. The cold weather of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania sucks from time to time. There's snow.
It's either hit or miss.
When Rogue One came out this past year, I literally couldn't take my kids to go see it because the roads were too bad, which kind of sucked where I was.
I drove. Oh, I'm really gonna give our location. I drove to the waterfront and saw it on release night, first screening.
Well, see, I went on release night because I go by myself on release night because if you know me, I'm somebody when it comes to movies. If you didn't hear last week's the remote control, check it out because I had a little rant about
that was a fun 25-minute rant.
My movie-going experience. I love my kids to death, but when I'm in there watching a movie the first time, I don't want distractions. So I'll go see it myself. And then I will take them the next day or 2 days later, something like that. And unfortunately for me, Rogue One, when it came out the day that I was going to take the kids, the roads were too bad. I couldn't get out there to take them. So that's the crappy part about it being in the winter, you know, because of that. That's why I was looking forward to May. You know, I could take the time off in the summer, take my kids. Don't worry about the roads. You know?
Yeah.
Just get to it and enjoy it. But again, it is what it is. Give JJ and Terrio some time to rewrite this script to make sure that everything is done as it needs to be. I'm sure they've been writing it for a month or so. I'm sure this has been in the works for a while, and they've probably been working on it for a good bit. So, again, whatever. I just want to see it.
Yeah, I didn't think you were gonna have that big of a meltdown about it.
No,
it's a new director, new writer.
Yeah,
you can't just do it in 2 weeks.
I'm not surprised because I even said whenever they fired Terry, we were talking about when Trevorrow was fired.
Yeah.
You know, I was like, they're gonna announce a director immediately because they need to get started because production started in January, February. So what this does is this gives them a little leeway. It gives them a few months to really just stretch their arms out.
Yeah, they're not gonna rush it through.
Exactly. So I'm not surprised.
Deliver a turd.
Yeah.
But with the good and the bad, with J.J. Abrams' announcement of Episode 9's writing and directing, a petition was made to, get him to not direct and write Episode 9. As of right now, it has 1,811 signatures.
That's not going to get anywhere.
So how do you feel about it, Bob? I'm not for it.
Look.
He is twiddling his thumbs so hard right now.
I'm a very opinionated person. I am. Especially when it comes to things that I really enjoy, whether it's, comic book movies, Star Wars, video games, music, whatever it is. I'm a very opinionated person. If I love something, my opinions get even stronger, and I will fight to back them as hard as I can. The problem here is there's a point in time when fandom is just ridiculous. All right. And I love Star Wars fans. We've gone to a Comic-Con, we met Star Wars fans. I used to work at a video store, see Star Wars fans all the time come in there. I love fans. I love talking with fans. I love conversing and talking about our past and everything like that. But this is a little ridiculous. all right, you're a fan of something. You need to trust the process.
Exactly.
Okay. They could have went and done something ridiculous and went and got, the director of the new Leatherface movie to direct
They
episode
could have
9.
went and got like Seth Rogen.
Yeah, they could have gotten Seth Rogen. And look, I'm a huge Kevin Smith fan, but we all know Kevin Smith couldn't direct a Star Wars film to save his life. So they could have gotten Kevin Smith. They're going the way that they believe is the best way to go. All right? We have to trust that. Yes, there's been a whole bunch of turmoil at Lucasfilm. I get that. And I know that's your next subject. But,
Oh, no.
But you look at it and you sit there and you say, come on, guys. Like, I'm looking at you, or I'm talking to you Star Wars fans here. Like, let it go. Let JJ and Terrio do what they're going to do, write this script, and make it well. Don't distract them. Whether JJ's probably not listening to it at all. He probably heard there was a petition, and he was just probably like, whatever.
He's like, I'm still gonna write it.
I'm still writing and directing it. But why put that doubt in his mind, and why risk the chance of him actually now doing something horrible because he's trying to appease to you?
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to get at. Like, just let it go. Let him be the director.
Let him do it.
Let him do his job, and trust that the process will be done well. Look, if the movie sucks, which we know it's not going to, but if the movie sucks, guess what? You're going to live another day. You will not die because this movie sucks. You will not live or die because this movie is good or bad. Your life will go on. All right? So why is it that big of a deal? Why try and screw over somebody's life and making him lose a job because you're unhappy that Kathy Kennedy, who's in charge of the company, chose somebody? That's just the way I look at it. Like, what would you say, Colton? Like, if you were hired at, you were hired at
Underbridge Media Productions.
You were hired at Target, all right?
Okay.
You're hired at Target to be their new cashier. And you go in there and you find out that there's a petition that people don't want you to cashier because they think that their friend over there should have been the cashier. Like, that's not right. Like, they're trying to make you lose your job for no reason.
We'll talk about this off camera because this is making some very eerie
But again, it's not right.
similarities.
It's not right.
Yeah.
It's not for us to decide who is directing and who's not directing, who's cast, who's not cast. It's not our choice.
My thing is, the people that are complaining are still going to go see the movie.
Oh, absolutely. They're going to go see
All
it.
1,811 people are going to still see the movie.
It's very true.
And they're going to complain about it.
Probably.
But they still saw it.
Exactly.
They already got what they wanted. Like,
I mean, it is what it is.
stick to your guns. If you're not going to see it,
I
don't
have
see
a
it.
problem with fandom sometimes. I think people go a little crazy with certain things. Again, like I said, I'm a passionate person. I'm opinionated, especially with my the things I love and what I love to fanboy about. But that's ridiculous. Like, if they came to me and they were like, Zack Snyder is directing a Star Wars movie, I would have been like, cool.
Yeah, all right. Sweet.
I'll see a Star Wars movie directed by Zack Snyder. I'm not going to sit there and say, oh, Batman vs. Superman wasn't critically acclaimed, so this is going to suck. So I'm going to make a petition. No. And that's not even the case with JJ. JJ made a critically acclaimed Star Wars
film,
movie.
yes.
The highest grossing movie of all time.
And we don't want him to
Domestically. And they don't want him to
direct it.
Come on, people. Like, use your head.
We're going to break the rating system here. People need to get their heads out of their asses.
It's true. It's true.
Like,
I'm sorry. Look, if you want to come back, email us, please. Email us at the remote control.
join the group for 5 minutes and we'll call you out.
The remote control at gmail.com. Email us there and just let us know why you think that JJ should not be directing. Hit us up on Twitter or join the Facebook group and tell us, because we'll sit there and there's a couple people in the Facebook group who were not a fan of JJ Abrams' movie. There are. There's a few people in the group.
He who shall not be named.
But they're not mad that he's directing this one. Like, it is what it is.
Yeah. Nah, we rant or Bob's rant part 2. So with the flip side of it, Rian Johnson's, obviously declined his offer to direct episode 9. His statement was, it was never in the plan for me to direct episode 9. I don't know what's going to happen. I was entirely focused on episode 8. So now I'm not really thinking about that right now. Sit down and see who's the next filmmaker. But I do also have a clip, which I'm going to have to refresh because, oh snap, something happened. But I also have a clip from him promoting the show in Japan, or the episode in Japan, episode 8 in Japan. So I'll play it right about now.
Yeah, we are almost done. We when I get back to Los Angeles, we have just a few more days of work, but basically the movie is finished, and now we just wait. That's never been shared. I'm looking at my producer. He's shaking his head.
プロデューサーの方に目をやりましたらば
He's saying
ダメって首を振ってらっしゃるそうです。No
He can say it. He can say it. Yes.
You know what I can tell you is that and we haven't said this yet, but I think this is okay to say, is that my very good friend, the actor Joseph Gordon-Levitt, who was in a movie I'd made called Looper, he does a cameo as a voice of an alien in the film. So it's a very brief little thing, but it's fun. And if you watch the movie, maybe you'll be able to hear and pick out Joe's voice in the movie. And that's the first time I'm revealing that.
Wow.
Yeah, getting to know Carrie was the highlight of this entire experience. I'm so sad that she's gone, and just will always be grateful that I even got a small amount of time with her. And the last time I saw her was at her birthday, at her 60th birthday, and she was so excited about the movie. And I told her how wonderful she was in the film, and how I can't wait for her to see it. And that was the last time that I saw her. But I think she is absolutely wonderful in the movie, and speaking as both as someone who knew her, but also as a fan, and knowing that sense of loss that the whole fan community has, I'm very grateful at least that we have the beautiful performance from her in this movie, and I hope that it will really mean something to the fans who didn't get, we didn't get a chance to say goodbye to her yet. So. It was never in the plan for me to direct episode 9, so I don't know what's going to happen with it, and I'm not sure what's going to happen with it. But for me, I was entirely focused on episode 8 and having this experience, and now I'm just thinking about putting the movie out there and seeing how audiences respond to it. So no, I'm not really thinking about that right now. But I'll be whoever does it, I'm going to be really excited to be an audience member again, and to sit down and see what the next filmmaker has to show us, and where this story ends up going.
So you heard it there. He had no intentions from the get-go of doing episode 9.
I don't buy that completely. I remember when they first announced that Rian Johnson was directing episode 8. The announcement went like this, because if I remember correctly, they announced both the director of 8 and 9 at the same time.
I think they did, yeah.
And they announced Rian Johnson to direct episode 8, Colin Trevorrow to direct episode 9. Rian Johnson will write both episode 8 and 9. Mm-hmm. That was I can't find it, but I remember it so vividly, that happening. And then it turned about a year ago, almost a year ago, that it was Rian Johnson supposedly stated, "No, I was never writing episode 9," something like that. I think that he had intentions of being part of the episode 9 process. I think when he got into episode 8 and saw and realized how demanding it was, because this was the biggest film that he's ever done. I mean, Brick and Loop are very small films, and smaller budgets. I don't think he was ready for it. So I think once he got into it, he was like, you know what, I don't want to write episode 9. He probably had some kind of story treatment that they were taking, and then the unfortunate passing of Carrie Fisher then led to the, rewriting process and everything like that. But I don't buy the fact that my focus was solely on episode 8 from the beginning. I don't buy that. You can tell, because this interview happened late was it last Monday, I think, is whenever this thing, it was after we recorded that this was released. And we record on Mondays. So this clip came out last Monday after we were recording. Because it was late Monday because I was sitting on the couch when we were talking. He knew at that point. You could tell the way he was thinking about everything he was saying before he said it, because he knew that JJ was in line. He knew that he was offered. He knew all of that already. He just couldn't say anything. So it is what it is. I think if I sit back, you listen to that entire interview, obviously talking about Carrie Fisher, it was very important. It was
Sorry.
It was, to him, it's one of those things that he'll always remember. So that's a very nice thing there. What was the first section about? I cannot remember.
Him announcing is the actor from Looper.
Oh, and then Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Yeah. You want to get into that? I think it's nothing. Really, I mean, look at what they did in episode 7. Episode 7, you had Kevin Smith as a voice of a stormtrooper. You had Daniel Craig as a stormtrooper. You had, you had.
I can't think of the actor's name. Sean from Shaun of the Dead was.
Simon Pegg.
Yeah.
Was on Car Plot.
I couldn't think of his name.
You have all of these characters that were played by famous actors as voices or something like that, and you never know in the movie. And they didn't, and prior to the movie, they weren't like, hey, these people are in it, which is kind of one of those things that, you find out at the end, you're looking at the credits and you see, Daniel Craig, and you're like, what? Daniel Craig was in the movie?
And then you go rewatch
You go back
it.
and try and find it. Same with Kevin Smith. And, there's a bunch of others. I can't think of all the names of people, but, they did it perfectly. That's what Joseph Gordon-Levitt's voice is going to be, or that's what he's going to do. He's just going to have a voice. I think
He's gonna be the Porgs.
I don't see why he announced it. I think it would have been more fun to see Joseph Gordon-Levitt's name in the credits and then go back and find it. Now people are going to go into the movie listening for it. I'm a huge JGL fan, and I think he's a great actor.
I can tell you, I'm not going to go listening for it. I'm going to watch the story first.
I mean, if there's a moment when there's an alien there and he's talking, and I'm like, hey, that kind of sounds like him. But they're going to do so much distortion, just like they did with the Stormtroopers. I cannot tell you what moment it is. It's Kevin Smith says whatever he says as a Stormtrooper. And then when somebody pointed it out to me, I was like, that doesn't even sound like Kevin Smith.
Yeah.
The only one that you can really tell is Daniel Craig. Like whenever he's, in the room with Rey and she, and she does the Jedi mind trick on him, when you listen, you can hear Daniel Craig. It's like, that's James Bond. That's what you hear. So that's the only one that I was able to really tell. Like even Simon Pegg is on Car Plot. You don't know it's Simon Pegg because they use a different voice.
Yeah.
He just wanted to be in the movie, really.
Yeah,
it's not like
he would have done anything.
Yeah. So, again, it is what it is. I just don't know why they had to tell us, because I think it would have been more fun to find out on our own.
So.
Darn you, Rian Johnson.
So now that Lucasfilm has averted one crisis, what do you think will be the next dilemma in Star Wars land?
I don't even want to try and guess. I honestly think after all of this stuff that has happened over the past year, because they've been in there's been some big issues this past year. I can see Lucasfilm and Kathy Kennedy really sitting back and saying, you know what, when we hire somebody, we're not going to hire these young directors. We're not going to get somebody in here who isn't going to play ball. Like I said last week, look, here's the thing. I am okay with them bringing in directors who are unknown, especially if they're going to sit there and play ball with Lucasfilm. We want you to direct a movie. We want you to do it this way. All right, okay. Mrs. Kennedy, thank you very much, and they go and do it. I'm okay with that. When it comes to the spin-offs, though, I want it the other way around. I want it where they're going and getting these young directors, or these Christopher Nolan, Zack Snyder's, these directors, Quentin Tarantino's. Get those kind of directors who have their own flair and craziness to them, and
just let them do it.
And just let them go to town. Don't give them Han Solo. Don't give them big characters. Just say, look, we're looking for a movie set at this time period of Star Wars. You can make up new characters, anything like that. It's this time period. It's during this moment in the main storyline. So if you want to make reference to it, that's okay. But go to town. That's what I want to see. I would love to see that. So I think, to get to your question, I think that there's not going to be any dilemma, anything big come up, because I think Kathy Kennedy and Lucasfilm are sitting there now and they're going to say, look, we got to make sure that whenever we're interviewing these people for these jobs, that we're going to tell them, look, you need to play ball with us. If you're not playing ball, we're moving on. You know, again, you can only go so far, because if I come and interview you, Colton, and I'm like, hey, you need to play ball, and you really want the job, you're like, absolutely, I'll do whatever you want. Yes.
Look, they could come to me today.
But then I'm not saying them. I'm saying me. If I came to you like, hey,
you
I
could
want
come
you
to me today, and I'd direct anything. I don't
but
care.
but that's the thing. You're saying I'd direct anything, but then let's say you start directing, and you're like, you know what? I don't like Bob's vision. I think this would work better, and you start doing what you want to do. You know, you can only do so much. Like, you know, during the interview process, you can say whatever you want.
Yeah.
But it's the actions that matter. So.
Well, see, I think, well, personally, I'm not the person I'll be like, I don't like where this is going. I'm just going to do whatever the hell I want. I would come and be like, okay, so this isn't really working. Here's a solution, and I'll try to meet common ground with you. I just won't do whatever I want. You know what I mean? It's not...
Yeah. It is what it is.
I think it's the wrong people they're hiring.
We'll see. I mean, I don't think we're going to see anything crazy. At least not... I mean...
Nothing... I'm talking, like, massive dilemmas.
Again, we got Star Wars Episode 9 figured out. And
as of now,
Ron Howard's doing Han Solo. I think those two are going to just move forward as they are. We know very little about the Obi-Wan movie that's rumored. Nothing else is announced movie-wise. Keep that in mind. We only have Episode 9 announced. That's the last movie that is officially announced, is Episode 9. So we don't know. Like, there could be, maybe that's why they're sitting back. They're like, we don't want that dilemma. We just want to sit back
and just coast it out for a second.
Coast and, you know, get our bearings straight, and then move forward with somebody else. That's my theory.
Well, you really, out of all of the questions, you really lacklustered that one.
Sorry.
But do you have anything, Bob?
There are a couple things I want to talk about real quick. I know we're well over an hour now, like an hour and 10 minutes or so. But GQ had a couple different things happen this past week regarding actors from Star Wars. The first one I think is great. It's Harrison Ford, and it's just an interview that he did. And I mean, come on, Harrison Ford is awesome. Who doesn't love Harrison Ford and when he talks and says things and stuff like that? So just listen to this interview here. The title on YouTube is Harrison Ford on returning to Blade Runner, Star Wars, and Indiana Jones. Oh.
The question I was asked was, do you have the intention of rebooting every successful franchise you've ever done? And I said, you bet your ass I have.
So this cover story comes out just in time for Blade Runner 2049. Let's start with the $64,000 question. I mean, this is the third film franchise you've returned to, this one 35 years after the original.
So what?
Well, I'm just wondering,
you got a problem with that? It's a living.
How does it make you feel that audiences want to see you return to these roles like Indy, like Han Solo, like Rick Deckard?
Feels good. Feels really good.
These characters mean a ton to your fans. Do you feel nostalgic about returning to them, or do you sort of try to approach it like, well, this is almost like a new character that 35 years on, I'm not going to be the same person that I am now?
It's the same thing, only better.
I heard that you punched Ryan on the set of Blade Runner.
He stepped on my foot, and I just tagged him.
And he went out.
Like a light.
Now, on the Star Wars movie, a hydraulic door fell on you, and you ended up getting...
Fell my ass. Smushed, I think is the technical term.
You and Steven Spielberg reuniting for fifth Indiana Jones film in 2019. Is there anything we can say about Indy at this stage in his life and what he's up to?
No.
Indy, Deckard, or Han Solo, which is the most fun to play?
Don't really have favorites.
Your earring.
It's out.
Why?
Because I lost it.
There was a bit of a runway mishap a few months ago. Are you still flying as much? Or?
No, I fly all the time.
If you're watching TV and one of your old movies comes on, do you watch?
Yeah, sometimes I watch a little bit, not a lot.
How does it make you feel?
Old?
Is the experience of coming back to Blade Runner at all comparable to coming back to Star Wars?
I'm a little sentimental, but I'm not nostalgic. What?
Feel free to be brutally honest.
F you.
Look,
That interview was beautiful.
You gotta love the Harrison Ford. He's always been one of my favorite actors since I was a kid. Even like watching the old Jack Ryan movies, Patriot Games, and Clear and Present Danger, Indiana Jones, Star Wars, and all of the others that he's done. He's done so many great movies. So I absolutely love everything that he has done. Now, I like the question that what do you think about returning these characters and everything? He thinks it's great. People always had this feeling back for so many years that he never wanted to return to Han Solo. He believed that Han Solo should have died.
Yeah.
That's what he always believed. He never stated that I'm never going to return to the character, and he did in a great way. He was Han Solo to me, and episode 7. There was nothing else. He didn't phone it in. He was Han Solo.
Yeah.
He did a great job. So I'm looking forward to Blade Runner to see him on there. Of course, I've never actually seen Blade Runner. I've fallen asleep every time I've tried to watch it. So that's unfortunate, but I do want to see the movie, and then obviously Indiana Jones I'm looking forward to also.
Do you think because of his age they're just going to start killing off his character?
It's a possibility.
Like, I've never seen Blade Runner either,
Yeah.
but is it a safe assumption to assume that they're going to kill him off there? And
Probably.
then Indiana Jones is going to die in Indiana Jones? And,
Possibly. It's all possible. I think
I mean,
it's all
just
possible.
because of his age, he just can't,
Yeah. Okay. And last thing I wanted to bring up, another GQ story in British GQ. Mark Hamill was honored with being GQ's Man of the Year or something like that. I don't know exactly what the title is, but he did a little interview here. It's a little long. I'll stop it if it starts to get off track a little bit, but it's 4 minutes. But it's Mark Hamill playing Luke Skywalker in Star Wars: The Last Jedi. So I'm going to play that here for you. And go.
Well, the question I get all the time is, did you ever expect it to be so successful? I did think it would be successful because it was a fantasy that had a sense of humor. I thought it was hilarious. It's amazing how warm people are. I'm always taken aback because they make you feel like you're part of the family. And they all have stories. I met my wife online for Empire Strikes Back or whatever. I named my daughter Leia, or everyone has a personal story. And of course, all grown-ups regress to 8 years old, which is fun. There was a line I said in the first one that now has been in all of them. I don't know about Rogue One. I've only seen that once. I have a very bad feeling about this, or I have a bad feeling about this. That's another thing. People have seen these things more than I have, so they correct me. Or I'll say the medical droid, and they go, IG-88. I was like, oh, okay. A lot of these things weren't named until they became toys. And we called them, when we were shooting it, the medical droid, but when they made it into a toy, they had to have some designation to copyright. Basically, I started collecting things that I wanted when I was a kid, but I couldn't get. So I got all the monster model kits I wanted, the Aurora model kits. The Beatles, I never paid any attention to the merchandising. I only liked the records. I said, who'd buy the Beatles Flip Your Wig game? It's so stupid. Of course, the minute they broke up, I wanted all that stuff. So I have a pretty nice Beatles memorabilia collection. It's hard to explain to young people because you can read about it, but unless you were there, that was my Star Wars. When they hit the Ed Sullivan Show, the Earth tilted off its axis and nothing was ever the same again. No, I have a horrible Chewbacca wail. How does he sound? I mean, they really got it going on. And Cumberbatch can pretty much do anything. I saw him in Frankenstein, in both parts. Well, one thing I loved, and I was reading the screenplay, and it's the type of movie where you go, when does the monster show up? And there's sand people, but they could be human under the robes. And then you walk into a bar where there's 50,000 of them everywhere. The ones that are further away from people in costumes are the most fascinating. Those puppeteers are just amazing. And there's a scene in episode 8 where, well, it'll blow your mind. I mean, I went on that set, and I don't think I've ever been on a set that opulent in my life. And there were 150 extras, wardrobe, makeup, prosthetics, puppets. I mean, I'm not giving anything away because Ryan talked about a casino, and that's what this is. And Michael Kaplan designed all the wardrobe and variations of black and white. I mean, it was just breathtaking, and you thought, gee, this set alone could probably finance about 30 low-budget features. I played Darth Bane on one of the Star Wars animated series. I don't know how the main cast felt because I went and did it by myself. Been doing the Joker for 24 years, never got an Emmy nomination. Did that character once, Emmy nomination. Now, thank God I didn't win because I certainly didn't deserve it. The cast is just the best voiceover people in the business. Here they do 65 episodes, really work hard. I come in for 20 minutes and snag an Emmy nom.
So, okay, so that was an interesting interview. The reason why I wanted to play that is obviously he talks about, playing Luke Skywalker and everything like that, and how fandom is and everything. And you can hear all of that on any interview that he ever does. Any Mark Hamill special, he talks about that.
I would love to interview him one day. He looks just like such a fun person to interview.
Here's my thing, though. He talks about Episode 8. Now, could read into it a little bit. It could be reading it a little bit too far. But he talks about the Canto Bight scene at the casino. He talks about walking on set. Does that mean, is this confirmation that Luke Skywalker will be at Canto Bight? Does that give confirmation? Now, again,
not necessarily.
Again, when you have actors and stuff like that, they could just walk onto a set and see a set.
Yeah.
However, he talks specifically about they're filming at that point in time. That to me looks like that was probably an entire day, 2 days of filming. Mm-hmm. So why would somebody who doesn't need to be there filming be on set at that point?
That's a good question.
Okay, so again, I'm not.
I mean, it doesn't exactly confirm it, but it doesn't exactly deny it either.
Exactly. So we might be seeing some Luke Skywalker in a casino, maybe rolling some dice, playing some craps.
Maybe a lightsaber duel.
Who knows? No, exactly. I mean, it's just interesting because just any tidbit that we can get about Episode 8 is fun.
Yeah.
Whether it's spoiler or not spoiler. Sorry, spoiler alert, possibly. It's fun. So I don't know. That's why that interview stuck out to me because he brought up that the idea that he was on that set and saw all of the creatures on set, and everything like that. So
yeah, it was an interesting interview.
Yeah, I love Mark Hamill. Mark Hamill's so fun. I've said this before. Go back, look at or listen to a Kevin Smith interview that Kevin Smith did with Mark Hamill on his Fat Man on Batman podcast. It was, I want to say it was his, maybe there's 2 episodes. It was a 2-episode interview. I want to say it was like episodes like 9 and 10 or 8 and 9, something like that, of Fat Man on Batman years and years ago. But check it out because it is one of the most interesting interviews that I've ever heard about from Mark Hamill. Kevin Smith and Mark Hamill have a relationship because they were, Mark Hamill was in one of his movies and stuff like that, as was Carrie Fisher, as was Billy D. Williams. Like there's a bunch of people in Kevin Smith movies. But again, it was an excellent interview. So I definitely said to check that out. And this was years before Star Wars was coming back. And, he talks about Star Wars and the possibility of ever coming back. He talks about being the Joker, stuff like that. So if you love Mark Hamill, check it out. I think you'll enjoy that. So, but yeah, that's all I got. That's all I brought today. Sorry.
Man. Hey, compared to last week, we flipped roles.
Oh, boy.
I came prepared.
You came prepared. No, I actually really enjoyed this episode. It was a lot of fun.
It was an evolving episode. So we showed how we feel about the episode. Why don't you give us a review and share and like and comment, join the group? all under the remote control, of course.
Join the discussion. Down in the links below, you'll find down in the comments below, you'll find all the links to where we're talking about going, the website, the Facebook group, the Facebook page, the Twitter accounts, all that stuff.
Instagram, everything.
You can find that all down in the bottom in the comments, and start following us, liking us, give us some feedback, because I want to hear. We want to know what you're thinking. We know there's 100 other Star Wars podcasts out there, but we want to make this one better. We want to make it more exciting, more
Star Warsy.
More Star Warsy, yeah.
More Porg-like.
More Porgy. You put its mouth up to the microphone like the sound is coming from its mouth.
It doesn't matter. Titty has a voice.
So yeah, definitely let us know what you think, because we love doing this, and again, we just want to know what you think, because we want to make it better. We want to make sure that you're listening and that we're getting you the information you want. So let us know.
Yeah, so it's been Star Wars Talk. I'm your host, Colton, as always, and with me is the wonderful
Robert from the Remote Control.
Yeah, so may the Force be with you guys. Have a good night, day, evening.
You failed. I am a Jedi.